Buongiorno! Oh my god, today I'm going to the launch party for The Beautiful by Renee Adhieh, and Sabaa Tahir will be moderating. Oh my god, I love Sabaa Tahir. She's hilarious. I've actually met Renee Adhieh and Sabaa Tahir before, so this is not my first time meeting them. But I just got a call a few hours ago from the bookstore, and they told me that I'm invited to a VIP exclusive party with the authors and to come in to the bookstore early. What? Apparently, only the first 25 pre-orders of The Beautiful were invited to this party, and I was number 22. So I'm gonna go to a VIP party with Renee Adhieh and Sabaa Tahir. I still hasn't sunk in that's happening, but I'm gonna go now to the VIP party. Oh my god, I can't believe it. I'm obviously gonna be vlogging the party and also the signing. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for The Beautiful. I'm so excited to see Sabaa Tahir. They're some of my favorite authors ever, and I adore them. I love these covers.
They are. I don't think they like this.
Or the spirit of Halloween will die. We have to keep it alive.
Let's do that. Thank you. Oh, you like mine? No, you're good.
Anybody like a little
Loyal to Sabaa, you'll get a big cupcake, but if you're loyal to Renee, you'll get a little one.
Oh,
But mine are...
That was sarcasm.
No.
Do you see the look she gave me? And then we were talking on the phone for like 2 or 3 hours. And then we met in Asheville in 2014.
Yeah,
I guess we met in
2014, yeah.
Asheville in 2014. It's sort of like been over.
It's like
ever
our marriage
since.
story.
Yeah, it's like
and then in
it's our
2014
me
we
cute.
met.
It's our me cute. But it's funny because like our husbands, like we call each other our mistresses because like they're like my husband is continually flabbergasted. She came to visit a couple of weeks ago, and one night we were up until 4 o'clock in the morning eating cheese and talking. And I came back into the bedroom like. That's what we do. And I came back into the bedroom. My husband like peeks his head up, and so does my dog. They're like, ugh, and their hair's all jacked up. He's like, what time is it? And I was like, 4. He goes, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, we were just talking. He's like, what the hell do you still have to talk about?
No idea, friend.
The sad truth is, we made each other go to bed. We could have kept talking.
Yeah, like she was like, we should really go. So I was like, we really should. Then we talked for another hour, and then we're like, okay, we're going to sleep. Like,
Going to sleep. My dog ditched us, and she usually hangs out with us the whole time. She's like, yo,
she's like bedtime.
This is getting ridiculous.
It's dawn. Okay. My husband, when I was about to leave, this is our last tour day together, which is very sad.
It is really sad.
And then I'm gonna go home, and she's gonna keep touring. But I know that as soon as she gets back from tour, even though I just hung out with her for literally a week, we're gonna have one of those like 2-hour conversations.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, what am I mean?
No, a lot of my cruelty honestly comes from her. Like seriously, in books, I'm always asking because she's got this devious, wonderful mind. I'm always asking her, how can I be meaner? And she's like I'll be like, how do I make this nastier? And then she comes up with all these ways, basically to kill a bunch of people and devastate everyone. And I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, I can totally.
Or
do
I'll
that.
just put more blood.
Yeah, more blood.
More blood in the scene.
It depends.
Yeah, it
It's
depends on the
both.
character.
Yeah,
there are some scenes that I know they're coming, and I'm just like, I don't write that scene. I avoid it for a long time, and everyone in my family's like, she probably has a bad scene coming up because she's like super grumpy and like not very nice on the phone, and so it just depends on the scene. Like some of them are really fun. Like I love writing commandant scenes because I think she's so fun to write. And like when she's nasty, I'm just like, yeah. But
so I could really, really love something as a writer and be heartbroken as I'm writing it as a reader because I'm like, oh my god, this is so devastating. And then the writer part of me is like, this is gonna hurt everyone. It's great.
And like at the end of The Beautiful, and I was just like, why? Like I was really upset. And even though I do that, I was still like, I hate your face.
There's no higher compliment. No, there's no higher compliment. When someone's like, I finished your book and I threw it across the room, I'm like,
so much for coming. I'm so excited to see all your faces. This is going to be really fun because I get to ask Renee questions and she has to answer them because if she doesn't, you guys will throw cupcakes at her.
No. Nobody wastes cupcakes.
Yeah, actually,
no
that's true. Don't do that. Yeah, don't throw books at her though. That wouldn't be nice. Okay, so we are here celebrating The Beautiful, which is beautiful. I had to make that joke at least once.
The reason why I chose New Orleans has a lot to do with me falling in love with all things Anne Rice when I was in high school. And I just loved, her books were the books that made me fall in love with writing because I found them so transportive and immersive and very hypnotic. And New Orleans itself as a city, I've been there about 12 times now, which is so cool for me because I get to go there and eat everything and call it research. That's my favorite thing.
That's totally research because the descriptions of food in her book are so good that I never ever start a Renee Adhieh book without a meal in front of me. I read eat because that's the way to read her books.
I am a child of mixed race, and I remember when I first went there, I was stunned at how at home I felt. And when I started talking to somebody who was a native New Orleanser, New Orleanian, I should say, they told me, well, this city has been a majority-minority city for a very long time, and it suddenly clicked to me. I didn't have to explain myself here. And I know there's no malice behind people asking me these questions, but the question of, what are you? Where are you from? I'm a human, I'm from Earth. There's a sort of dehumanizing quality to that, and I never felt that in New Orleans, so yeah.
Where you experienced vampires and you were like, yes, these guys are awesome.
I'm going to turn this question around on you too, because I always want to know when people first fell in love with vampires. So just so I don't catch you off guard later. Okay. So for me, it was when I was 12 years old. I kept getting in trouble in math class because I kept propping up my textbook and then putting another book that I was actually reading inside. Which, if you think about it, is like the crappiest way to hide what you're doing. Like, who reads a textbook?
Unaffected.
Who reads a textbook?
No,
obviously, you're trying to hide what you're really doing.
Only a Slytherin would do that.
Only a Slytherin would do this. It's brazen, isn't it? It's very brazen.
Just
And I got caught 3 or 4 times doing this brazenly. And finally, on the 4th time that my teacher caught me, she's like, I'm going to have to talk to your parents about this. And I just this creature in my stomach, and it's just scratching. And then I get home. I'm so scared. I'm like, he's going to take away my books. My mom is going to forbid me from doing anything that I love. It's going to be the worst thing in the entire world. My dad calls me down into his office, and he's got this sort of smirk on his face. And he's like, okay, so I'll make you a deal. And he has this wall of books behind his desk. He's like, you can read anything here if you stop reading in math class. And he goes, wait. Actually, you can read anything here except this row of books near the top. You can't read those. You can read anything else. Foolish man. Foolish man. What do you think I did that very night, right? So I get a little step stool. I step up, and I actually picked a book with a bad word in the title. It was Anne Rice's Queen of the Damned, because I was like, ha! It's got a bad word in the title. It's going to be good. So I brought it downstairs. I went to my room. And I was reading it underneath the blanket because I was still trying to evade anybody catching me with this wonky flashlight that sort of flickered and it would go off at weird moments, which was perfect for the ambiance of this book. It was just delicious. And this is where I fell in love with vampires. And from then on, I was just like all things vampire. Yeah.
Mine was also Anne Rice, and it was Interview with a Vampire. And I remember reading Interview with a Vampire. I read it long before it was appropriate for me to read this book. I was like,
I would agree. I
was like, I don't know what's going on in this book. Maybe I need to look up this word. And, it was not great. But I read this book, and I remember a couple of years later, the movie came out, and it was the first time that I had what would later become a very regular response, which is, the book was better. So that was the one that got me.
It was the beginning of our nerdy snobbery.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it was bad too because I then went on to read everything Anne Rice wrote. And if you're familiar with everything Anne Rice wrote, probably a 12, 13-year-old should not have been reading those books and definitely did not know what was going on.
I got a real education from Anne Rice. That was the education I should have had, but I didn't get an education from Anne Rice.
Or women who care a lot about their clothes or their shoes. There's something sort of vapid about them. For me, I've always
seen really smart.
Yeah, come on. This does not come easily. Right?
I do this type of blend if you're an idiot.
Okay. But also, it's like fashion and makeup. These things, to me, they're wearable art, and this is like we thrive in artistic spaces. And to me, it's cathartic. It's really helpful for the anxiety that all writers have channeling through their blood at all hours of the day and night. So it was sort of a no-brainer for me to put that in her once I kind of realized how much of myself I was putting into Celine. This is the most personal character I've ever written, and I think I didn't intend to do that. When I was drafting The Beautiful early on, it was right during the Kavanaugh hearings, and I remember just having this sort of like seething undercurrent of rage in my system. And I think a lot of it was because I was like, we're not going to do this again. We're not going to do Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill again. And we totally were. I was like, I cannot believe how many people refuse to believe this woman who is risking everything to tell her story. And
we were talking on the phone about it because we were both really upset.
So mad. And it was like a very common thread, especially with the women around me. Even my mom, when I was talking about this with her, she's not somebody who really gets involved in politics, and she was really upset about this. And the reality is, without getting too bleak, 3 out of 5 women have suffered some form of assault. And I'm one of them. And we carry often this shame around with us for a really long time. And it's a darkness that, at least for me, I felt this compulsion to hide for many, many years. And I was thinking about Christine Bradley Ford whenever this was happening. And I wrote into the story of Celine, sort of the inciting incident is that she flees Paris because she's killed the boy who tries to rape her. And in the 1870s Paris, if you get caught murdering somebody, you're hanged. And she thought no one was going to believe her. And again, sadly, that's the case here too, that she thought no one was going to believe her. I have to get out of here and start a new life and deny this darkness that I see in my past. And I really wanted her, over the course of this book, to realize that, because she sees it as darkness because she's not sorry, and she thinks that because she's not sorry, something about her is broken. And I found myself weaving these stories from my own past into this story. And it was cathartic, it was frightening. I found myself writing a character that, before with like Shahrazad from The Wrath of the Dawn and Mariko from Flame in the Mist, I wrote kind of aspirational main characters. Shahrazad is the girl who always has a great response. She's very quippy and sharp. I never did when I was growing up. I was always 10 minutes too late. Mariko is a brilliant scientist, obviously from math class. You can tell that wasn't me. And I wrote this character in Celine who wishes she could be thinner, who wishes that nobody knew the truth about her. And I felt, again, it was frightening, but also wonderful. Now my snack.
Okay, now your snack. Your snack started off as kind of a side character, and then I grew more interested in exploring his character as time went on. And I was really fascinated with the quandary of what is it to be raised in a society where the things you're expected to do are really, really terrible, but you have sort of this conflicted sense of morality of what is right and what is good versus what you're being asked to do. And that's really out of that Elias was born, that sort of conflict. I also think that Elias is probably the closest reflection of me in all the books. And
exclamation points and emojis.
Yeah, and emojis, exactly. So, but one of the things that sort of strikes me about romance is that it's not a genre that we see on a lot of best of lists. It's not a genre that gets a lot of respect. It doesn't get reviewed in major publications. And when it does, it gets reviewed in sometimes this sort of disdainful way by people who kind of seem to not understand what a good romance book is, which really annoys me. So I was just wondering if you could talk about why you think that is. I know the answer, but I want to discuss.
Firstly, let's talk about how much I love you for this question.
Yeah.
This is such
very pointed.
It's a great question because I feel honestly, I think it's rooted. I think the reason why people don't take romance as seriously as they should is because it's rooted in people sort of liking to mock the things that women, and especially young women, enjoy. And I'm tired of it. I love reading romance books. We talk all the time about how difficult it is to write
a good romance book.
It's so difficult to write a good romance book. And honestly, even if you talk to... One of my husband's favorite movies is Gladiator. And he also really loves Braveheart, sort of these stereotypical dude movies. There's lots of blood, there's warfare. But if you think about these movies, the nexus of these stories is a romance. It's often
they're fighting for the woman they love.
Somebody they loved was killed, but nonetheless, it's rooted in love. And it sort of upsets me when people are like, "Oh, I don't want to read that. It's a romance. Ugh, that's a bodice ripper." And then people also like will love to attack writers of romance, especially young adult authors of romance, and they'll be like, "You're setting, like unrealistic standards for young women." I'm like, "Excuse me. If writing a healthy relationship between two consenting young people is setting an unrealistic stage for young women, I don't want to live in that world. We need to live in a world where that's normal and wonderful and expected. We have to demand nothing about nothing." And she is getting ready to have a baby, and like this kid came up to her at a party. She's like, "How did you get a baby?" And she didn't know what to say to her, so she told her, she was like, "I ate a small baby and it got bigger." And I was like, "Nitty, you can't say it." And she was like, "Yeah, she ran away from me."
I get it. I would run too. As an adult, I would run.
This kid is probably messed up for life. Like,
I sincerely hope she went and told her parents and they just laughed. That's what you get for not telling your kids
exactly.
what's up.
She was like, "I don't know what to say to you. I don't think I should be responsible for this discussion. I ate a small baby."
Can't you have brown hobbits? Like, what's so fantastical about that you could not have those? But regardless, you don't really see marginalized people in historical fiction, or if you do, they can be very otherized.
Mm-hmm.
They can be exoticized. You turn this belief on its head, and you create this very rich and very diverse New Orleans, because that was authentic to the time.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that approach and how it felt to write it, and how it felt to research it, and what was in your head as you decided to take that route?
Absolutely. Well, I first want to sort of, is anybody a big fan of Julia Quinn? She's a historical romance author. I love her stuff so much. It's just like oozing out of the wood. They're like, "That's not historically accurate. All these characters are supposed to be white." I'm like, "Get your racist butt back into the shadows where you belong." Because I'm sick and tired of this. There are people, people from all over the world, especially in a place that's colonialist and imperialist like the UK.
Yeah, you know how many brown people there are.
Come on. Seriously.
So many.
Well, and again, with New Orleans, it's not a stretch. It's not even somebody having to envision. I mean, New Orleans has a really sort of like rich and sordid past too. It was a port city in the slave trade. People coming into New Orleans from all over the world there, sometimes against their own will. And you had this wonderful blending of, cultures and races. And that's been a truth in New Orleans for many, many hundreds of years at this point. So it's not a stretch to do that. It's one of the reasons I elected to choose that, because, again, I'm a child of mixed race, and I was always so, enthralled when I found someone else whose parents were not the same and didn't come from the same backgrounds, because it was difficult for me as a child to be, half of one thing and sort of not enough of another.
I used to get so excited when I saw other South Asians, because I grew up in a town where I was the only one, me and my brothers. Yeah. I would be like, "Oh my God, it's another brother. I wonder if they'll be that's a real thing that happened."
Well, they like the same things that I like.
Exactly.
The same stories. So to me, it was a no-brainer to do that with a city like New Orleans. I mean, everything about it. It's food, it's music, it's people. It's this wonderful, unique blending of cultures.
Yeah. So the first one is, if you had to be a vampire or werewolf, which would you pick?
Oh, obviously vampire.
I would pick werewolf. Let me tell you why.
Unsurprised.
I have small children who I like to snuggle, and I like to take them into the park and into the sun, and I feel like if I was a werewolf, I'd just be super creepy for a few days out of the month, and I would be hairy and scary for a little while. If I was a vampire, I would never get to see the sun again, and I, as a beach bum person also, I would find that upsetting.
I mean, I feel like there's some sort of a workaround. There has to be at this point.
I
Really
guess
good sunscreen.
It's what type of vampire are you? Are you a Twilight vampire?
No, I even though I really like the idea, I found with Twilight, it's funny. I don't think I'd want to sparkle. It was weird. It was fine for me in the books, but then when I saw the movies, I was like, oh, that doesn't work.
Okay, transported to the world of Harry Potter where you're not guaranteed magic, or transported to the world of Lord of the Rings where you are guaranteed magic.
I mean, you have to answer this question too. So
yes,
okay. So I think Okay, so I would choose The Lord of the Rings, and I would be an elf. Because they have the best style, and
That's fair.
I'd be like Rivendell.
And you know what's
Rivendell
cool
away.
is like when things go south for everyone else, you can just get on the boat and go to that other fancy
The
place.
Summer Island.
That was called the summer house. Just like bye, little people.
Exactly.
Me and my
I'm gonna go with
elf
my
leaving.
fabulous hair and jewelry, and I'll go
We're gonna
over there
float onto this boat
with
and float away.
my glowing weapons.
Okay. And then I have 2 more questions for you. Sorry, these are very important. You get to travel. We've actually discussed this, and I have a real problem with her answer, but we'll get to that. You get to travel space like really fast, like at the Starship Enterprise speeds, for the next 10 years. 5 years going and 5 years coming, because we've been asked to clarify this question by all our lovely nerds. To explore space, to see strange new worlds and new civilizations, to go where no man has gone before. Would you do it?
Okay, before we answer this question, I was like, I actually want to know from the audience. Would y'all take that? I like my phone. I plan out my vacations 1 year in advance. What? You want me to go out into space where it just question mark for 5 years?
I would love that. I think it would be so great. I would totally leave. I'd probably want to take my family with me, so I'd be like, sorry guys, you're coming with me to space. But I think it would be so much
You know
fun.
who wouldn't be cool with this? Mr. Tahir.
Yeah, he would not. He'd be like, I'm not leaving. Why?
No.
Okay, so very last and most important question. Elias or Keenan?
I mean,
So someone yesterday was actually like a really big Keenan fan.
it was weird because like I wasn't sure. That's just me because I'm judgy because again my snack. But it was weird because she was like, somebody has to protect my little ginger snap, and I'm like, how far have you read into these books? I'm like,
You know what
but I
the
didn't want to
little
ask
ginger
her because I didn't want to
snap
call her out. I was like, I think he's fine. I also am a huge fan of Sarah McLean, which I have to tell you, I love her stuff so much. I have to tell you though, it's really funny. I'm doing an event with her in New York, and she was one of my first like sort of starstruck moments like years ago. We're good friends now. She came up in my signing line of my book and asked me to sign it, and I was like, and she was like, will you sign my book? I was like, you're Sarah McLean. And she's like, yes. And I was like, you want me to sign a book for you? It was the most embarrassing thing. And Carrie Ryan, who's a good friend of mine, she sat next to me and she was like, and so was Marie Lou. They were both like, we were like cracking up. But love her stuff.
So it's much later, and I wanted to do a haul of all of the swag I got because I actually got a bunch of swag at the VIP party. I didn't realize we were also going to get swag as opposed to doing the VIP party. So the first thing I got was this poster, which apparently was illustrated by Jessica Khoury, which is another YA author, so this is pretty awesome. It's the map of the French Quarter in New Orleans, which is where The Beautiful takes place. So this is really cool. I can't wait to hang this up. And then I also got a bag shortly after. It's an orange penguin teen bag, but on the back it has a quote from Flame in the Mist, which is one of Renee Adhieh's books. And in this bag there's a bunch of other stuff. This pouch that says, "The stories we tell have power," from The Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. Oh god, I was so excited when I saw this because I thought that all of the merch was gonna be Renee Adhieh. Instead, this is Sabaa Tahir's merch. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I love Sabaa Tahir's books like so much, and I literally have like no merch from her like at all. So I was really excited about this. It is kind of big. I might probably use this for as like a book pouch, even though it's kind of huge, but I don't care. I'm just excited to have Sabaa Tahir merch. And we also got a pin, which I don't know what this pin is. Some of my friends are saying that maybe it's like the San Diego Comic-Con pin, because I haven't seen this pin anywhere, and I pre-ordered the book and there's a different pin that you get for pre-ordering it. So I don't know, this is a pretty cool pin. And I've never seen it before, so that's pretty cool. And then I think there's some other pin in here as well for, yes, there's another pin in here for Flame in the Mist. Ooh, this is really pretty. Has like the fire, which makes sense, Flame in the Mist. And then I don't know what this is. It says, The Beautiful, and it looks like Jaws, like vampire Jaws. I don't know what this is. Is it candy? Is it like those like really fake like vampire jaws that people wear for Halloween. I don't know what this is, but cool, I guess. It fits the theme of the book, which is vampires. Is that it? Yes, that's it. This is all the swag I got, which was really nice of them. And the VIP party was just so cool. We also got cupcakes. I think I showed you the cupcakes. The beautiful cupcakes were beautiful. That I just love that they put like the beautiful cover on top of the cupcakes, and there was also like these like gold flecks that are actually edible. They were so good. And then Sabaa Tahir also had her own cupcakes. They were like a lot bigger, and they were just regular cupcakes. They were really good too. Like everybody, like there were so many cupcakes, and only the first there was only like 25 people like in the VIP party, so there was like a lot of cupcakes left over. Sabaa Tahir and Renee Adhieh got to the bookstore so late that we were only really able to do like a 15-minute VIP party, and I was really sad about that. I was hoping we were gonna sign our books earlier, but that didn't happen. But it was still really nice. I'm really happy about all the swag, and the cupcakes are really good. And we also got to ask Renee and Sabaa like any questions we wanted. We were like the first people who could talk to them, and it was really cool. And it was also just like really cool going into like the back room of Mysterious Galaxy. Like obviously that room is only for employees, so I've never seen it before, and it was really cool being there. And they also decorated a little bit for it. They had like a whole table set up with like Welcome to Jack poster. It was really cool. They just did such an amazing job. I wish we could have had like a longer VIP party, but the little bit we had was really fun. And then the signing was amazing, even though it took forever. Even though I was number 22 in line, I still waited like an hour, because literally everybody in front of me had like stacks of books for both authors. People literally had all of Sabaa's books, all of Renee's books at once. It was a lot, and I only had the beautiful signed by Renee Adhieh. This is her newest release. Oh my god, look how beautiful this cover is. Like honestly, there were so many beautiful puns that night, but I mean, you kind of have to. And also just the book in general is so pretty. Like the end pages are gorgeous. It's the map of New Orleans in like blood red. I love it. And then I don't know if you can tell, but there's like a lion like engraved here on the cover, which was really cool. And then here's the spine. This whole book is just really gorgeous. Here's her signature. I love that she signed it in red to like do the whole vampire thing. Honestly, I'm so excited for the beautiful. It's gotten like really mixed reviews, but I love Renee Adhieh's writing, so I'm so here for a vampire book set in New Orleans. Yes, I'm so here for this. But anyways, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Comment down below if you've read The Beautiful, or if you want to. Let's talk about it together. My social media links are all down below. My Twitter, my Bookstagram, my Goodreads. Arrivederci!